right away because there's no delay. Hey there, we are live with you.
Hi, Linda Evans Shepherd here with my dear friend Rebecca White, and we are here to talk about AWSA and the upcoming conference. Woot!
I am so excited. I love going to the conference. It's so wonderful to just see everybody and be with everybody, let alone all of the fabulous worship and prayer time and workshops that are part of it.
Well, just to set the stage, let's go back 25 years ago, just a couple of days ago, when I used to go to the International Christian Retail Conference. And it was my second time to go. And I went to my publisher. I was very excited. It had a big name publisher, but they didn't see me as a big name. And so they didn't have a book signing for me. They handed me a box of books and said, hey, just go walk around and give them away. So I ended up in a line for a famous author. And so as people walked by, I gave them away until security came to take me off the floor.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, wait, I'm an author here. And they were like, this event is for the publishers.
Uh-oh. Somebody's saying there's no audio.
Oh
I
no.
don't know why.
Oh, I'll start my.
No, I can hear you fine. So I don't know why there's no audio on Facebook.
Oh, if anybody can hear me, say yes, I can hear you, because now we're confused.
Yeah. Since we're getting notes that there's no audio on Facebook, or on YouTube. Let me check and see what I can see.
Okay.
On YouTube.
Right in the middle of a good story. Don't you hate that?
I do. You'll have to start.
Okay. Joni, hey, good to see you. Thanks for letting us know. Got it. But it has an echo. Okay.
Well, of course it would have had an echo then, because I just looked at it on my computer. So it was going to be.
Oh,
it was working on my computer. So hopefully now people can hear us. Good. Because I did check in. I can hear us on YouTube.
Okay.
And Gina can hear us.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll just give the short opening of the story I was telling. I was talking about over 25 years ago when I was a new author and I made it to the International Christian Retail Expo show, and my big name publisher had brought me in and they hadn't set up a book signing for me. Instead, they handed me a box of books and said, here, go just hand this out to people. Well, I didn't really know any better because I was a newbie, and I'm walking around the show. Nobody cares that I'm there. Nobody's friendly. I get into the line of a big name author. Okay, well, actually, it was Vice President Quell's line. That's how long ago it was. And I'm handing out books as people walk by, like my publisher told me to do. And what do you know? Here comes security for the event, ready to drag me off the floor. And I'm like, well, what did I do? My publisher told me to do this. They said, that is not allowed. You have to be at a booth to hand out books. And I'm like, this place isn't very author friendly. I mean, there wasn't a place for authors to get a chair or to sit down or anything. I mean, it was just, it was like the security guard told me, this event is for the publishers, not for the authors. And I said, but they would not have any books if they didn't have authors. But that's beside the point. And what the real point of my story is, Christian publishing was not always a warm and friendly place. Now, if you were a big name author and you had your picture up above on the rafters of the giant convention center as big as your house, well, then you were treated, A class. But if you were just starting out, you were new, you were just like, I wrote my first book and now I'm going to serve Jesus with this book. They couldn't have cared less. And so what I ended up doing was recognizing I wasn't the only author, especially women author, struggling. There were a lot of us. And so when the Lord tapped me on the shoulder to do this, I sent out an invite. And my very first day, it was 25 years ago, I got 50 yeses. I sent out 50 invites. I got 50 yeses, which tells you we already felt that we needed each other. We needed a friendly face. We needed someone to say, I see you and I appreciate that you're trying to serve Jesus by writing a book, because our publishers were saying so.
Yeah.
And today that can happen even now. And in fact, it can even be hard to find a publisher. But when you know that you have a call from the Lord to write for him, whether or not your photo is ever the size of your house, hanging from the rafters of a convention center, that doesn't even matter. What matters is that we are obedient. And you know what else matters, Rebecca?
What's that?
That we encourage one another.
Yes.
And that we love one another.
Definitely.
And help one another. And you know what else? And have a Christian book contest to show people, hey, you did a good job. You go forward. We see you. We see how hard you're working. This is a beautiful book. And that's a lead in to what, Rebecca? What are we going to talk about next?
The Golden Scrolls and Christian Market Awards. Because if you have not entered your book that was written in 2024 or the first half of 2025 yet, you are missing out, and you need to go ahead to scrollawards.com and enter that book. I've got a great number of books here. I'm getting ready to send another set out to judges. So if you are an AWSA member and are not entering in a certain category, you can always contact me if you would like to be a judge. But we would love for you to enter the Golden Scroll Awards or the Christian Market Awards, or both of them. If your book was a 2024 book that was the first half of the year and it won in the Golden Scrolls, you can still enter it in the Christian Markets this year. If it won in the Christian Markets, you can enter it in the Golden Scrolls this year. Now, if it won in the Golden Scrolls, you can't enter it in the Golden Scrolls again this year. So Lori Rolleveld, who had a fabulous book and won a Golden Scroll, cannot enter that book back in the Golden Scrolls. But if you were somebody else that entered, your judges will be different. I make sure you don't get the same judges if you enter a book 2 years in a row. So it does give you an opportunity to have somebody else look at your book. And I can tell you right now, Linda, I have been reading at least a chapter of each book that comes in. And I've been reading lots of, I have a whole set. I have like a series of how I read the books each day. And I'm working my way through the books as they've come in. And we have got some fabulous books. Absolutely fabulous books this year. I mean, and some of them are ones that really appeal to me or really touch me. And other ones are ones that I can see the audience for and how important that it is for that audience. And so it is so beautiful to see what people are doing and the different audiences that we have, authors that are trying to reach out into. And they are just fabulous. I can tell you this morning at my women's prayer group that I go to every Monday morning, I was actually talking about two of the different books that I had read in the last week from the books that had come in and impacts that they were making, or something that was helpful to somebody else that was in that prayer group and what we were talking about. So, these books are books that are going to have great impact, and it's wonderful to be able to talk about them and to share them and to see what is happening with them and see where they're going to end up in the awards as well.
That's right. And these are messages that the Lord has given us to write. And it's beautiful to hear that the quality that's coming in this year is outstanding. I mean, that's going to make it hard on the judges, but
it will.
You know what? We are raising the bar by having this contest. We are helping everyone strive to write just a little better, to do a little bit better job. And boy, that is so exciting to see that happen. And, I can remember a day when maybe our books were not as developed as they could have been. And I'm speaking personally too. And then just, practicing the writing, spending time with the Lord, having that burden on our heart that the Lord gives us to do and to write about. And then knowing that we can enter our book and maybe somebody will say, good job. And that's important because we all need encouragement.
We do. And that's really important. And it is wonderful. You know, I love the Golden Scroll Award ceremony because
Mhm.
it's just so lovely to see everybody pumping each other up. And you don't see the people that are just like, oh, that's so, you know, everybody's cheering for one another and they're excited about everybody else's. So we've seen Joni and Gina and Janet
Mhm.
are here with us
Mhm.
today. And if you're here with us and you haven't said hi, say hi. We'd love to say hi to you. You know, it is just so exciting to see everybody here. And, you know, Linda, as I'm reading through the books, because I am not a judge, I do go ahead and I will, as I read through people's books. So the earlier you get it in, the more likely it is that I get to actually read through your whole book. I mean, if your book doesn't come out until May, still enter it this year. But if your book is already out and you can get it to me earlier, it's more likely that I get to read through the whole thing because I only have so many hours in a day for reading. I
Well,
have a
do
lot of
it for
awesome stuff to do
Rebecca.
too.
Do it for Rebecca. She's a speed reader.
Uh,
She is incredible, and
yeah.
she will read your book if you get it to her right away.
And when I read it, I put up an Amazon and a Goodreads review every single time. So,
Wow.
you know, the earlier you get your book in, the more likely it is to be able to do that. So, hey, Stacy, Lauren, hi, Gina. And, you know, we're excited to have you as a new member too. Gina, I believe we met you at NRB. Is that
Mhm.
correct? Did we meet you at NRB? Because that's an exciting event too. But we are getting ready to talk about a really exciting event. It's like the event for AWSA. So, Linda, tell us what is our big thing and when is it happening?
Well, we are going to be having our very next AWSA conference, and it's going to be this August. I think it's the dates are 8, 9, and 10, right?
8, 9, and 10 for the conference.
I want to say 6, but that's Superstar Day. So we have a Superstar Day that meets just prior, 6 and 7. Those are for people who've written 5 or more books. And boy, is that a special, wonderful time. If you qualify, you should definitely consider coming a day early and being with us for Superstar Day. And then we kick off our conference on the 8th, 9th, and 10th. And the 8th is a really special day because we're kind of known as the praying sisters. And we kick off our morning by praying for one another. We pray for miracles. We pray for families. We pray for ministries. We pray for one another. It's very personal and it's very dear and rich and deep. And then after that, we start our seminars and our teachings at our conferences. And we get Babby Mason back again this year. If you remember Babby, whenever we get to go to Georgia, which by the way, we will be in Duluth, Georgia, Babby is likely to be able to attend. And so she said yes. And so she is going to be with us all through the conference. And we get Babby and we get some wonderful keynotes. We get Don Scott Damon. We get Carol Kent. She might pop in any minute. I don't know. And we just get some people that I know, and I look for people that I know will minister deeply and encourage our women deeply. And we have many more than those, but those are a couple off the top. And Babby Mason will be sharing her testimony as well at our worship service on Saturday morning. We have a brief early morning worship service to kick off the day. And tell us about some of the seminars that we are hosting this year at the conference.
So, of course, Edie Melson will be back talking about what's new and updating in social media. We have got a seminar on, I've written my book, now what do I do? So all about what do I do with my book now that I've done it? Tama Fortner is doing that one. Tama Fortner has written, it must be 50 or more books that Tama's written, it seems like. All I know is she's written so many of them because she does ghost writing and her own writing. So some of them are in her name and some of them you don't see her name on. So she will be excellent at that. You know, some of the others I'm looking forward to are how to be a good MC. What an interesting and different thing.
Yeah.
Developing a biblical business plan for your ministry.
So I'm stuck on how to be a good MC. Let's just talk about that for a minute. I
Sure.
mean, you might be thinking, how I don't want to be an MC. Well, what if you want to create your own event someday? And maybe you want to be an MC, and an MC is a great way to break into a bigger conference. And, even the volunteer at your own church when they have their women's conference, they might end up getting you on the program. So it's a great way to have a lot of fun with the crowd and to minister in a way that's not like giving your classic speech 101.
Yeah. Lauren Nicole is saying it was so awesome last year at the conference. And it was. And Lauren, we
Yes.
were so glad to have you there.
Mhm.
Lauren actually came in to Superstar Day as well, because she was actually doing some podcast interviews during that day. So she
Mhm.
was with us for that as well as
Mhm.
the whole conference, and did
Yes.
a fabulous job, and really shared a lot with her
Yeah.
sisters with doing so much of that.
I hope you can
And
come back.
yeah, and Gina says she's done that before and she's having a conference in September. And the other thing I think about with the emceeing is I think that Linda will probably give you some great tips
Mhm.
for kind of even online, if you're hosting a few people online for something. If you have a topic, it's doing
True.
an online like summit or something like that,
Mhm. Mhm.
knowing how to MC that would be fantastic. And that's a great way to
Yeah.
do something.
She
John, we hope
just
to see you there.
Yes.
And yeah, Lauren's right. You met so many new friends, because that is also a part of the conference, is meeting those new
Right.
friends. So
Right.
yeah, I think how to be a great MC, there's so many different ways that you can use that class. And
Mhm.
it's a different one. It's not out there at all the other
Mm-mm.
conferences.
Yeah, we try to be really creative in what we're bringing. We try to look at what people are talking about, what they really want to have, and then we try to bring it in. So, what else are we going to be treated to?
Another one that is probably a different one is developing a biblical business plan for your ministry. Looking
Hmm.
at what does the Bible say about a business plan and putting it together. And that's by Deborah Elrod, who,
Mhm.
I don't know, she's been at the conference a couple of years, so I'm
Mhm.
not sure how many of you have met her and have known her background, but she has a strong business background. I mean, she was a business manager for the automakers and did stuff with them. So she really knows that. And so Dawn Ward is asking, are we having speaker training? So we are going to have a few different speaker trainings. Robin Dykstra is going to be doing a training on how to get more speaking engagements. We are going to have our speaking coaching again. So we will have some different speaker training, as
Right.
well as the
And
different
you
training
might
for
want to
other speakers.
volunteer for that and be our guinea pig and give a little tiny speech, and then you get critiqued in front of everyone. And it's just a great learning experience.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot
And
of fun. I get to
yes.
be one of the coaches again this year.
Another one that we're having that's a little different is co-authoring. So Pam Farrell is going to teach on co-authoring. And, she has co-authored with so many people. She's co-authored with Peggy Sewell. She co-authors with her husband an awful lot. She's co-authored with my mother, Karen Whiting. She co-authors her Bible studies with Carla Dornacher, and there's a second person in our Bible studies, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head. So again, that's another great way. Maybe you are a newer author and you've got some great ideas, but you just can't get your foot in the door. Sometimes co-authoring
Mhm.
with like Michelle Medlock Adams for children's, or with like Pam Farrell, sometimes when you co-author some of those
Mhm.
things, they help you get your foot in the door in publishing that you might not have otherwise gotten in.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking very hard about co-authoring a book right now because it's to go with a screenplay that I've written, and I'm really busy. So to have somebody say, "Hey, yeah, let's hook up and we'll write it together," I'm thinking that will give me the energy and the zest and the second brain
Well,
that I need.
I've co-authored all of the books that I've written with my mother, and the two that we are currently writing, we are co-authoring. And I'm so glad to have that co-author, because it's really nice to have that person to lean on if something happens or something comes up. And it's great because you have a built-in editor, because the other person can help
Yeah,
you edit your stuff. So
that
I'm sure Pam
is
has got
true.
fabulous ideas on
Oh
co-authoring.
yeah, oh yeah. She's
Um,
a great co-author. We should all
you know,
ask her to write a book with us.
and networking. My mother, Karen Whiting, is teaching networking, and if you've ever been to a conference and seen my mother, she is an amazing networker.
I'll
I
say.
mean, I used to think my dad was a good networker, and he was a fabulous networker. And I never really noticed my mother networking until after my father passed. But my mother is, I mean, going to a conference with her as she's networking is absolutely amazing. In fact, if you have time at CPE, or if you're at NRB with her and she's got 30 minutes and you can just go around with her and network with her, there's an amazing amount of stuff you will learn.
I've done it.
But even if you just go to her class will have so many great things. In fact, all of our participants in NRB, the last part of what you get with when you sign up, that $100 that you put down to register for NRB with us, we give you a couple classes. And one of the ones that we give you is one that my mother did a couple years ago for NRB on networking. And even though it's a couple years old, everybody that watches it says, I learned so much from that class.
Yeah.
So I know that her seminar will be fabulous.
It's going to be great.
Another one that is different and new is, or another one that we're going to have there is, we are going to have you mentioned screenwriting, and we are going to have one on screenwriting.
Yeah, that is exciting. And it used to be that screenwriting was just not obtainable. And we've got a mastermind group. It's going to be taught by Rhonda Dragomir, who is in the Hollywood mastermind group that I am in. And I just have to tell you, there are paths to getting your movie made, but it's going to start with a great script and a great story. And Rhonda is a great person to teach this class. And so, I've walked down this path for a while, and just recently I've gotten the attention of a producer.
Awesome.
And he's sending the screenplay treatment to a Christian comedian, and we're trying to see if he will give us what they call it, a soft letter of intent. And then we're going to take it to yet another producer together. And so these things happen, and that happened through an AWSA connection. It happened through AWSA. So, hey, it's possible. And if the Lord is calling you in that direction, you better go check it out.
Yeah, and we've got some screenwriters in AWSA. Angela Strong, one of our newer members, actually was in the top 5 of the Crown Awards for their screenwriting, and they said there were 137 entries. Wow. So fabulous. Rhonda's won some screenwriting contests, which is part of why we have her working on that. Mm-hmm. So, there's some great things with that. So there's so many different avenues you can do things. Of course, we'll have classes on podcasting. Mm-hmm. We'll have classes on various things with social media, on all kinds of marketing, because that's all part of what we want to do.
And writing, and different novel writing, nonfiction writing.
Lynette Eason is teaching our novel writing class this year. Ooh. So I'm excited about that. And it's a more advanced class for novel writing, which I think is important for our ladies. Advanced techniques for crafting a compelling premise. That is just exciting.
You know what? And it's the premise that keeps your story from being the same old story that they read last novel. And that's so being able to create that premise. I'm working on a new story right now, and trying to create something that hasn't been seen a million times. That's the key. And it's possible. You can do it, but you're going to have to put a little elbow grease into it and prayer. So you definitely want to hit that. And I'm always thrilled to have Edie back, because she is our social media guru. She keeps up with the latest. Her blog on this has had millions of views. A lot of our girls write for that. And if you want to write for her blog, come to the conference and say, hey, to Edie. But you just never know what doors might open, because a lot of the people who attend the conference are connections and doors, just like my awesome friend who's opened this door for me, for this producer. They are connectors, and you never know who you might connect with and what that might lead to. And because we're not competitive and because our core value is love one another, it's easy to meet people and easy to get connected like that.
Yeah. Now, a question that came very early on from Janet Johnson was, back when we were talking about superstars, was does being in an anthology count towards those 5 books that they need to have for superstars?
Well, being in it does not. Compiling it would. So
Right.
it's just a little bit different.
Right. And we actually have a course on compiling an anthology by Virginia Grounds at the conference.
Yay. So yeah, I recommend start compiling your own anthologies so you can come to Superstars with us. But you can do that. You can do that. Those are fun. When I first started in the business of writing, I've written, I think, about 39 books so far. And I wrote several of my earlier books were compilations. That wasn't what I had in mind to do, but it was certainly a door that opened to me because I was willing to do that. And that's probably how I got so many business cards from so many people when I first started AWSA, is because I had been out there connecting with people and hearing their stories and collecting their stories. And it was just all a big part of my writing journey.
Right. And, Linda, I don't remember if we've fully talked about it, but I was pretty sure we had some visitors at our conference last year. Are we going to have them back again this year?
Well, yes, we love to bring in editors, and we already have a couple that have agreed to come in, and we're going to be reaching out to more. And we allow people to make appointments with our special guests. And so I'm not sure if that's all set up right now. Is that set up?
It's not set up yet. No.
But
right now, you can say you want an appointment with somebody while you're doing it, and you can pay for that appointment to begin with while you're registering for the conference. But we have not set up everybody who it is, and we haven't set up our page where you can choose out who you want to have.
Yeah, but we will have all of that. But just know we don't have necessarily what you would call slouches. So it might be people you would really like to connect with. And even if you don't get the appointment, you might sit next to them at lunch, or you might have a time to say, hey, I didn't get a chance to talk to you, but blah, 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 I have a question. Or don't you like my idea? I mean, you never know. You never know. You might have your elevator pitches ready to rock and roll.
That's right. And hello, Evelyn. And it's good to see you too. And, there are so many things I love about the AWSA conference. And the most important one, of course, is just seeing everybody and talking with everybody and being with everybody and praying with one another, because that is so important to all of what we're doing. So, that is a core thing of what the AWSA conference is to me. And of course, with my job, last year I got to go to one course, one workshop. That was all I had time for with everything else that I was doing. But that's okay, because like I said, it's the people that I get to be with that is so important.
Well, that leads me to a question. It's something I've always contemplated doing, but wouldn't it be neat? I mean, like when I go to Blue Ridge, they have those little recorders in all the rooms that the people are responsible to be techie enough to turn on and record the session. I've always wanted to do that. And so my question is, would our members, the ones coming, be willing to help us operate those recorders? I mean, we can't get cameras in all the rooms. I wish we could do that. But we could get digital recorders into the rooms. And if you're interested in that idea, or even interested in helping to set that up, reach out to us and let us know, because this is something I've always wanted to do, but I've never had the bandwidth to add that next layer.
Something else that happens at your very first AWSA conference, or at least your first AWSA conference since, I think we got them in 2022. We have these AWSA pins.
Oh, yeah.
And our AWSA our Golden Scroll like AWSA pins. We got them in 2022, and you get one from us at the first conference after we bought them that you came to. You have to bring them back every year.
Yep.
because you don't get a new one every year.
Yeah, they're not. They weren't easy to get.
No, you can pay to replace them, but you can't get. We don't give you a new one every year. But everybody that's new to the conference gets one on their first year at the conference.
You can wear it to the writers' conferences that you attend or speak at, or go to NRB and have your little pin on and let people know, hey, I'm not a slouch. I'm an AWSA.
In fact, this year with NRB's name tags that were just like paper name tags that had no plastic holding them, sometimes some people's tags broke so that they didn't have the holes in them. And those AWSA pins were great for actually pinning them to you because you didn't.
I hadn't heard about that.
You didn't get there. So Evelyn says she wants one of those pins.
Come on down. Yep, they're fun. They're really fun to have.
Yeah. And, so that's an awesome thing that's part of there. And, we say that it starts on Friday, and it does start on Friday the 8th. Now it starts at 9 a.m. So most people, there are some people that are right near there in Georgia and they can travel in that morning, but most people can't travel in that morning. So, one of the other things I love is our early bird dinner on Thursday night, where we go out to a restaurant. Everybody's paying for themselves, but we just go out to a restaurant and we just have a great time talking with each other, catching up with each other. It's so much fun. So we will have that again this year. Don't know where it is yet. We're still working on those details. I have somebody that lives not that far from there that is working with me on some of those details and trying to help me with some of those details. And I'm a little behind because I got sick after NRB, but we are starting to work on those details. In fact, if you haven't been to the AWSA Fun page since 3:00 Eastern time today, we have added our hotel information up. I did it right before we came on.
We finally got it.
So the hotel that we are having the conference at and that has a block of rooms for us at is the Atlanta Gwinnett Westin, or Atlanta Westin Gwinnett is the name of it. But there is a link where you can reserve your rooms. The rooms are reservable from Wednesday the 6th, so for Superstars on, through the following Wednesday. Because, we haven't mentioned this, but you can stay after the AWSA conference for Christian Product Expo.
Yes, it's replaced the Christian Expo for our show from long ago. This is brand new. It's not brand new, but it's been around. But this is where the industry and the booksellers go to now.
Right. So it gives you a chance to meet with booksellers.
Yes.
So, there should be an autograph
booksellers.
Yeah, there should be an autograph party on Sunday night. You can sign up for that when you sign up for the conference. We will have an AWSA booth there on the floor on Monday and Tuesday. You can sign up to be part of the AWSA booth. You can come. That means you can do book signings from our booth. That's right. And you don't have to be told, oh, you're not allowed to give away books. Although I haven't seen them do that on these.
Yeah, we won't send you out with a box of books and tell you just to hand them out to people you pass. No, don't do that. They will send security after you, probably.
No, I haven't seen them do that there.
Okay, well, they're nicer.
Yeah. Christy and Andrea that run that stuff don't tend to do that.
No.
And we normally have an AWSA prayer booth where we actually have a place where our members can pray with anybody that's there. So the booksellers or the publishers or the other stores that are there, we can just pray with them over their needs. And that has just been a wonderful ministry we've been able to do for a few years now.
You know what? I know that the prayer booth and the love that our members project into the industry has broken down walls. I had a guy, and I've shared the story many times. So if you've heard it, some people haven't. Just some people haven't heard it. So, I had a guy come up to me at the old event and say, before you AWSAs came onto the floor, this was a cold place. And you brought in the love of Jesus. And we still do that everywhere we go. And I've been watching the CPE event, and I can tell you that I am seeing the love of Jesus spread and grow more every year. And I like to think we had a little something to do with it.
Yeah, and Penny mentioned it's always a fun evening. That
Mhm.
Thursday night evening is always a lot of fun. And of course, Saturday night we do another girls' night out. Saturday night you go in
Mhm.
smaller groups to different area restaurants to just hang out, unless of course you're on the AWSA steering committee. The AWSA steering committee meets and does a
We
kind of
meet
does
till
a
midnight generally until somebody
well,
says,
I believe this
"Go."
year things are a little different, and
Yes,
you're just going to do a
yes,
overview debrief on the conference.
yes. And we're gonna be doing more board, meetings through the year and not save it all up.
Yeah,
Because
and Dawn,
we've grown so much and there's so many things that we're doing. We just don't have enough time to talk about the whole thing of AWSA, which is under the umbrella of also Right to the Heart when we have that board meeting. We don't have time to talk about all of it.
that's
So,
right.
yeah.
And Don Ward says, it feels overwhelming, and you might be overwhelmed by the amount of stuff and everything at the AWSA conference. It's not the hugest conference because Blue Ridge has like 600 people
Oh,
attending it, I
yeah.
think, and we normally have about 100 people attending the AWSA conference. So it's
Yeah.
not humongous in the number of people, although it's bigger than like a local writers conference.
Yeah.
And so but Dawn loves the idea of a meetup before. And, the other thing, Linda, is a lot of people will put in our groups.io. They'll say, hey, I'm going and I'm looking for a roommate,
Right.
because the hotel is $209 a night. And that's a little pricey. It's also
Mhm.
$20 a day for parking.
So
So
we're
that
not
is a
in
little
charge of
pricey.
that. We're so
Yeah, no,
sorry that it's
we
higher.
didn't do
Yeah.
that. I will say they did ask us if we wanted some rooms at the Embassy Suites, which was going to be a little bit less expensive, but it was, I think, almost half a mile away.
Yeah.
And we were concerned on whether or not
August heat,
um,
walking
everybody
half a
could do
mile.
that. So, if you feel like that's a little pricey and you're willing to make the walk that half a mile, you might
Mhm.
want to check and see what price you can get at the Embassy Suites.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, because it is near there, so that is a possibility for you if the Westin seems a little bit pricey for you. And like I said, lots of times people room together,
Mhm.
and if you have a roommate, then you have somebody, especially if you haven't been before, you have somebody to be there with.
I've gone to
um,
these events with over 6 roommates before. Back I'm talking about more than 25 years ago. And you
A
get to
lot of
know
times
people.
mom and I, for a few years, I roomed with you the last couple of years, but when I was rooming with my mom a few years ago, the conference is in the Westin Hotel. So
Yeah.
that is why we said, no, we will do our room block at the Westin and not at the Embassy Suites. Because they did offer to make us a room block there, which would have been would have been $10 less, but we just didn't think the half-mile walk, especially in the evenings and things, was worth it.
We don't know the area, and we know the heat in Georgia can get pretty extreme.
Right.
And,
So
we did not want our girls out there walking in the dark and in the heat.
right. But if you decide that's something that you want to do, you can look at, because
And
I know there's the Embassy Suites, there's a couple other hotels around there. So you can look
Uber
and see.
over. Yeah.
And some people, some like Abundance Books normally comes with some of their authors, and they generally get an Airbnb that those authors stay in together.
Mhm.
And, so if you want to do something like that, that's another option.
Mhm.
We are, unlike last year, without having our own room block, we do not have like this push to make sure that everybody stays at the conference hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, we were in dire jeopardy last year. If we didn't make our room block, we had to pay for the leftover rooms, and we were like, "Ah."
Yeah. And then the hotel was going to use them. It wasn't like they were going to pay for them and we could have given them to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. But that didn't happen. We used our room
No,
block. Thank you, Lord.
God always provides, and we know He provides. So, you don't have to worry too much.
That's our motto around here. The board and the steering, that's our motto. And the Lord always provides. And let me encourage you. I know this is kind of a shaky time with the stock market and everything, but if God is calling you to come, He will provide. And I know from experience that He will provide. So yeah. And if there are people out there who are ready and willing to give scholarships, we already have people on a list who are hoping that people step up and help them, because
Right.
it would be wonderful to get them there.
Yeah. So if you want to give a scholarship, you can go to awesagiving.com and give under the AWSA for scholarship. Just let us know that it's for a scholarship. You can send a sheet off an email to Linda or myself. Or if you want to give a specific amount that's for a scholarship, you want to know how much you need to give for a scholarship, you can also send an email to either myself or Linda for that. So if you want to do that, you can email me at arisereply@gmail.com. And let us know you're interested in giving a scholarship to somebody, because like I said, we do already know we've got some people that are on a list asking for scholarships when we have any scholarships available.
Yep. That sounds good. And thank you for reminding us about the coupon code. Guys, you need to jump on this because of all the situation. I don't know if you've heard, but our shopping cart is giving up the ghost.
Yeah. Literally.
Literally. And they didn't bother to tell us. And we happened to find out about it. And now we are scrambling and we're having to move to a new shopping cart. And the new shopping cart doesn't have coupon code things. So when that happens, the coupon code is going to go away. Right now, we're
still working. There's a possibility that they'll have coupon codes, but I'm not positive. But at least until May 1st, it'll actually go till the end of this shopping cart. Early bird is the coupon code for $25 off. So, if you register now, use that early bird coupon code.
Hi, Alyssa.
Yep. So, I hope that everybody is ready to really enjoy this conference. And like I said, there is so much love to go around at AWSA. What was it? Oh, somebody said to us in our survey last year, Linda, that they wanted to bring pom-poms this year for everybody because they felt like the entire weekend was just a time where everybody was cheering each other on. Like we were little cheerleaders, just encouraging us and cheering each other on. And so she said, everybody just needed a pom-pom to add to the cheering that they were doing.
Well, and that's why you don't need to be nervous. Like, I don't know anyone. What if I go and nobody talks to me? I have been to conferences where I was even on the speaking panel and nobody talked to me. And wow, I know how awkward that is, but I guarantee you that will not happen at the AWSA conference because people are excited to see you and to meet you, even if they've never even heard your name before. And it's easy. All you have to do is say, "Hey, I'm Sally. What's your name?" And suddenly you have a friend for life. You have a new best friend. I mean, that's all it takes.
Alyssa agrees that they cheered a lot. They said, somebody should put that in the swag bag. And she said, maybe that'll be my swag bag contribution. And Evelyn says, it will not happen. So she says, yep, you will not be stuck in the corner by yourself where nobody will talk to you.
If we see you pouting in the corner, we'll come and get you.
Because we will have that and you will be part of it. We don't have somebody that sits off in the corner. We want you to be a part of it. We want you to feel loved and we want you to feel prayed for and we want you to be a part of it. Yep. Oh, there my mom Karen is saying hi now.
We see you, Karen. Yes. Yeah. I know we have some lurkers around here too. So we'd love for you to say hi so we can see. We're not doing drawings today. Sorry about that. But maybe next time, but not today.
And I believe, Linda, this year we are actually having a couple people whose position will be to be the kind of the greeters for the conference. So I will still take care of registration. And I have a wonderful person who's helping me with registration. Debbie Dufik is going to be helping me with registration at the registration table, as well as Tom. But we also are going to have some assigned greeters.
Yes, we are.
Because I'm so busy with registration, what I can do is just get you the things that you need. But that doesn't give you that warm welcome feeling all the time.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If you really want to make friends, volunteer to be one of our greeters. And we haven't put that call out yet. And if you're interested in heading the greeter team, please contact us right away because we're interested in knowing that.
Yeah. Alyssa must have missed. She's asking if we know the hotel. So yes, we do know the hotel. It is a Westin in the Atlanta Westin Gwinnett. And the link is on the awsafund.com to register for the hotel at the group rate. So yeah, Alyssa says she wants to be one of our greeters. So I'll have to make sure that I make a note of that. So when we put that team together, we can do
Thank you,
that.
Alyssa.
The steering committee will be working on that at the end of April when they have their
Yeah,
next meeting.
we want to make sure that as people approach the desk and they don't know anyone. I mean, last year the registration desk suddenly just got attacked in more than one way, and so and this year we learned from that. This year we're
That's
going
right.
to make sure that Rebecca can coordinate and that happy people can greet. And then
That's right.
everybody will be warm, welcome, and happy at the end of the day. So
Yeah. And if you are an early riser, those swag bags that Alyssa mentioned,
yeah.
we always have to put them together that morning. So if you're an early riser, it's a great time to put them in. Janet Johnson's another person who says she wants to be a greeter. She is so
Oh,
joyful, and Linda,
we
she
love
writes all those books on grief, and they are such beautiful books on grief and
that.
bringing up grief. Janet Johnson's book was another one that was a Golden Scroll winner a couple years ago on that.
Wow. Yeah.
Her children's book that she wrote with Michelle Medlock Adams on grief.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
But she is such a happy and positive person while she writes on grief. But she writes on how to get over it.
Well,
get through it.
One of the things about AWSA, I have to say, is we have the most beautiful, godly women who are a part of this, and we really value them and the fact that they said yes to the calling. And back in the day when people wouldn't give me the time of day or a sip of water at that old conference that used to be in the industry, we are there to say, yes, you can have all the water you want. And we want to cheer you on too. So it's a new day. And the whole thing is about honor, respect, appreciation, and love. And really, that's the heart of what we do and why we do it.
And as you prayed this year and as our team prayed, our theme for this year is follow your voice, meaning God's
His voice. His voice.
Follow his voice. Yes. Follow his voice.
Yes. From Isaiah.
Yep.
Based on the scripture.
Yep. Our verse is Isaiah. Oh, it's not listed here on.
It's here I am, send me, from Isaiah.
Yeah. And Evelyn says, is it CPE is at the same hotel, the Westin Hotel. That is where CPE is staying. Our room block is part of the CPE block. Yes.
And that's another reason to register. Here's a strategy you can use. You're not sure you can come yet? Go ahead and hold your hotel. You don't pay for it until you actually stay there. You can always cancel the registration. Just don't forget to cancel it if you end up not being able to come. But those rooms will disappear. And so let's say you're like, well, I'm going to need a roommate. Well, you can ask for a roommate on the loop. We always get roommates for our girls. We always find someone to be someone's roommate. And it usually works out. Well, it always works out, as far as I know, really well. So there may be some stories I don't know about, but it generally works out really well.
And like I said, the early bird is the coupon for $25 off, at least until May 1st. We're just not sure how long the shopping cart's going to be around. We're doing our best to get everything moved over.
Yeah, pray for us, especially Rebecca, because she's the one having to juggle all of this.
And, the other thing is that we have at the conference is we always have the conference CPE issue of Leading Hearts. And we have just released the information on it. So if you are interested in being in the conference issue, I'm sending a note that has a link in it, or you can contact me about being in the CPE issue of Leading Hearts.
Yeah, that's great. It's such a great place to put yourself. I think we still need a cover girl. You want to be you want to be on the cover, and you want all the bookstore people to take a copy of our magazine with you on the cover. You can have that. You can do that. You want to do an article about your book, about the topic of your book. You can, and then we'll have a little blurb about your book at the end. You can do that. You want to put a beautiful ad, and Amber can help you create a beautiful ad for your book and have it in the magazine, have it on the back cover, have a spread in the magazine, or even just a half a page. You can do that. And how do they do that?
So I put the link in there because there's not a short link to it, where they can contact me.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you can contact me at arisereply@gmail.com. That is arise, ARISE, reply@gmail.com, is how you contact me if you want to do any of those things.
And if you've got a bigger publisher, ask them if they will maybe sponsor your ad or your article or go halvesies on it, that kind of thing. But we have to pay for the ad. And we always charge too little for the conference on purpose because, as I told you, we know God will provide. And one of the ways he provides is through the magazine. So please help support the magazine. And especially it may help support you with the bookstore sellers and buyers.
Yeah, it's because those magazines do go out to all the bookstores that are at CPE. They get them in their buyer's bag. So they all get them. You also get copies of them, depending on what you are. Last year, Liz Pittman was our cover girl.
Right.
The year before that, Leanne Mancini was our cover girl. And Leanne said, just from being the cover girl on that, because of course, not only do we have the print issue, but that means you're also the cover girl for the
online issue,
as well for those couple months. And she said her website traffic went up by 50% during the time that she was a cover girl. So, that's just anecdotal information.
Yeah.
So it says, can we order hard copies of the magazine or subscribe to receive the print copies? So the print copies, we only do print copies that we do a large run of when we have a conference. So we have NRB issues and we have the CPE issues.
Yeah.
So if you're at the conference, you can get the CPE issue. If you're at NRB, you get the NRB issue. So those are some of the NRB issues from last year. If you want a hard copy of the other magazines like Velma's and Michelle's that you see there, those are digital only ones, but we do have a way that you can print them. If you go to leadinghearts.com, that's the conference issue from a couple years ago with Leanne Mancini on it. So if you want a hard copy of the magazines that we do as hard copies, you can actually order them from me. Again, just contact me and I can set that up because, as I said, our shopping cart is going away, but I can set it up with you. If you want a hard copy of the magazines that we print, if you want a hard copy of the magazines that we don't print copies of ourselves, then you can go to Pichu and get them. And the link for that is on leadinghearts.com. So we will actually print a couple copies of that because we use those hard copies to send in. That was our first NRB issue a few years ago. With that cover girl.
I was looking. I was looking for Dawn's
another half box of those the other day.
I have. Well, do you have? I don't know where Dawn's issue is. I usually have it on my desk. I may have given it away in a drawing.
I got her issue, and I've got Liz's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are two great issues. But I always keep a few on my desk, and sometimes we give them away in our drawings too. But it is really a good idea to be in the magazine and to get that traffic, to get that attention, to get those eyes on you and your latest book.
See. Here's Dawn's issue. This is the current issue.
Yeah, the current.
With Dawn from
really cute.
And then this is the conference issue from 2021 with Janelle Reardon on it. And this is the conference issue from 2020.
Yeah.
With Charlotte on that, I believe.
You can see why we win a lot of the awards at the EPA, Evangelical Press Association.
Yeah.
And that's just been a joy and a confirmation. Winning those awards is a confirmation. And so we just continue on. And this year, we're going to be giving awards again to our Leading Hearts Writer of the Year, as well as our Arise Daily Writer of the Year. So if you write for either one of those publications, it might be a fun thing for you to come and attend and get some recognition because you'll get a beautiful plaque for that.
Yeah. And that's always a surprise. Nobody knows ahead of time that they're.
Yep. Nobody knows. Well, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do accept chocolate. No, I'm teasing. Don't send me chocolate.
To be honest with you, Linda, we aren't really the ones that fully get to choose.
Don't tell them that. Just send in the chocolate. Yep. Yeah, we accept bribes. Nope.
Okay, maybe you can send them to Linda, but don't send, don't send chocolate and expect it to make a difference when you send your Golden Scroll Award books.
Well, I didn't say it would make a difference. I just said I accepted bribes.
So I've got our conference dates up there because Dawn was asking us to remind them of the conference dates. So Superstars is August 6th and 7th. The conference is the 8th through the 10th. And CPE is the 10th through the 12th.
Oh, and you know what's so fun about CPE? We have another AWSA conference that runs at CPE. And we pick our girls. We get some of our girls who come in, and we teach all the writers who come in, and that it's just been a wonderful, friendly thing that we can do for CPE, and they give us a few perks back for that. But it's just a really wonderful thing to do, and we get to minister to the other writers who are not connected to a lot of love.
Yeah, and let's see. I had noticed that Evelyn asked about what day is the book signing. So I believe there will be a book signing on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also, that is not inside of the expo hall.
Yeah, well, the 8th is actually part of the AWSA conference as well, because that's when we do our Golden Scroll Awards.
No, that's the 10th you're talking about. The 8th is the beginning of the
AWSA conference. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the dates wrong. So yeah, the 10th, the 10th is part of our conference. That's when we do the Golden Scroll Awards, and we have the worship service with the all of CPE, and and then CPE. Yeah, you can
that afternoon, and that evening they do a book signing, and that book signing, some of our members can be in. So you can register for the conference and register to be part of that book signing. And then we also have book signings at the booth on Monday and Tuesday. Now, the book signings at the booth, you do have to register for CPE, which in the past has been about $150 for authors, which I know because I've seen the prices. Literally what you're paying for is the lunch buffets that they're giving you.
You're getting their food.
It's the food cost is what they're charging you for. But the AWSA Writers Conference does not actually take place on the expo floor. So you can actually come and attend the AWSA Writers Conference without registering for CPE. If you just want to stay and attend the AWSA Writers Conference, you can do that. And those will be totally new classes. And yes, Dawn, you can see a lot of this information on our website. We haven't updated with the entire schedule, but we have information about all of these different things on our website. You cannot register for CPE yet, so we don't have a link for that. But once you can register, we will have a link for you to register for CPE. But like I said, the Writers Conference we do there, you don't have to be registered for CPE. So if you want to stick around for a couple days, and we don't repeat the same classes. The classes we have at the AWSA Conference are not the same classes as at the CPE Writers Conference. I know Edie is going to be doing a class on scams. At the AWSA, at the CPE Writers Conference. Last year, we had a scam panel that Edie led, and she's going to take some of that information and other information she has and do that at the CPE Writers Conference.
Right. Yeah. We have to be diligent against those scams for writers. There are a lot of writing scams out there.
So awful.
The one I like to talk about is the woman who charges $300,000 to publish your book.
Right.
And my joke is always, she doesn't even use 24 karat gold ink.
But just so many great classes, and we haven't put them all up because we are still getting yeses and nos back from everybody. So as we get more yeses, I try and remember to get them up there. But again, I'm in the process of moving all of our landing pages to a new site and all of our products and shopping cart to a new site. And so I'm really busy with that. And so if I miss an email or two and I don't get somebody up there on the website, that's part of it. It's nothing personal against any of them. I'm just really busy with all of these things.
Yes, let's just pray a beautiful blessing over Rebecca. Lord, just help Rebecca get all of this done and help our girls to show up for the conference. And let this be the best conference we've ever had, filled full of your love and your spirit and connections and just knowing that I almost said the word approval, but yeah, that you are approving our good work. And Lord, you are definitely the first person we invite every year.
Yes.
And so, Lord, just let us all come and meet with you. In Jesus' name, amen.
And it's just a wonderful time to be together. And I highly recommend it. My first time going to the AWSA conference was back in 2007. I was with my mom for ICRS and I went to the Golden Scroll banquet with her. And then my first time attending the whole conference was in 2014 when my first book was coming out. I attended as a guest of a member with my mom. And then in 2020, we had our online conference. Although a few of us went to CPE that year, and I was at CPE and saw Linda and a few of the other people from AWSA at CPE itself.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have an in-person conference there with COVID happening. So 2021 is when I started really doing a lot of the work for the AWSA conference, because by the 2020 conference, I was working for AWSA.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that was a blessing for us for sure.
And each year has gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is that everybody is just so wonderful to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And I will honestly say, this is the job where I get the most thank yous and I feel the most blessed that I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, we writers know that not everybody understands what we do or why I had a neighbor come up to me the other day. She said, "You're doing what?" I was talking about something I was writing, and she said, "Why?" Because she thought I should just be like traveling the world or sitting out in my swimsuit getting a suntan. I don't know what she thought I should be doing, but not everybody gets it, but we get it. We girls get it.
Yeah.
And we're so happy that you're on the team.
Well, we have a wonderful team and we are just working our way through everything that we're doing. And, the one thing, another thing that I just love about this conference, it is so prayed over.
Mm-hmm.
We really pray about things. We listen to what people say in their surveys, and then we pray about it all. And we see what God has to say about doing things. And we just trust that He will guide us in the right direction. And we still have a few possible surprise big guests that might be coming. And as those things come up, we will pop things up about them. Our networker, Karen Whiting, is working on a few things, and Linda's working with another group. And we're hoping to have some other fancy things that we'll be doing soon to let people know about with the conference too. That should be a lot of fun.
We've been talking for an hour. I think it would be easy to talk another hour. But I know some of these girls have things to write.
Yeah, so do I. I've got a deadline too.
Yeah, me too. Well, before we go, we're not going to do spin the wheel today, but if anybody has a question, you have a couple of minutes to get it typed in so we can answer it. And then we're going to have to say goodbye. But boy, I sure hope that you will come and join us in Georgia this year, Duluth, Georgia. Now, I'd heard of Duluth, Minnesota. I once spoke to, I think, I forget how many, like several hundred Lutheran youth of Duluth many years ago. But this is not a Lutheran youth event in Duluth, Georgia. This is a Christian writing event for CPE, and we are one of their satellites, the AWSA, Advanced Writers Speakers Association, with our prior conference, followed by our Golden Scroll, followed by the month's CPE event where we have a free writers conference that you can attend there as well.
That's right.
All right. Did we get any questions in?
We did not.
Maybe we answered all the questions.
And, ladies, I know the next time that we want to be able to see you is actually at the AWSA Connect on June 16th.
Yes.
And I believe Lane Croft is our speaker that night. Mm-hmm. So great. She was just doing a workshop that was very well attended at the last Arise Esther. Mm-hmm. So we hope to see you at June 16th on our AWSA Connect. That will be a free Zoom meeting. We will send out the link as we get closer to that time. And we would just love to see you there.
Yeah. Come on down. We'll see you soon.
And can't wait to see you at the conference.
All right. Well, thanks all for hanging out with us. And you'll probably be seeing little bits and snips of this around the AWSA world of this meeting we've had. And thank you so much for being there and encouraging us today. And we will see you next time.